Hi, I'm Addie, and I will be talking about Ireland's drug problem in this video. I'm filming this on my phone because I've tried Kaltura a couple times and it kept deleting my video, so hopefully this is okay and it works. But I chose Ireland, and I will mostly be using the 2019 Ireland Country Drug Report that was published by the European Monitoring Center for Drugs and Drug Addiction. It contains most of my information about things as far as Ireland's plans and policies in place to help the drug issue. According to that report, they said that cannabis, ecstasy, and cocaine were the top 3 abused drugs in Ireland, and I decided to study or research a little bit about cocaine because I found an article that was published by the Irish Times called "Cocaine Has Become King," where it has some pretty interesting elements to it, which I will get to in a little bit, it just really made me want to talk about cocaine in this specific area in Ireland and what they're doing about it. So to start off, the 2019 Ireland Country Drug Report mostly talks about information they have from the most recent survey done in Ireland, which was from 2015. So almost all my information is going to be from 2015. Just a little heads up. So, according to the drug report, in 2015, those aged 15 to 24 had a 3.2% prevalence rate for cocaine use. And that can also be backed up by the book, Drugs, Society, and Criminal Justice. In Chapter 2, Table 2.3 shows that Europe in general has a 2% prevalence rate for cocaine use by those aged 15 and 16 years old. So that's a little bit crazy and scary because such young people are becoming addicted to cocaine or using it, trying it, and our brains, like that period of time, 15 to 24, our brains are barely developed or they are still developing, and so it pretty much tells you right on paper why addiction is so high with these drugs is because people are using them at such a young age. And in Clonmel, Ireland, according to the article by the Irish Times, Cocaine Has Become King, they state that cocaine is the main drug of choice for those taking drugs in Clonmel. And from January to about the end of April in 2021, 256,000 euros worth of suspected cocaine and heroin, ecstasy, etc. were seized by the Irish police. And the superintendent for the Irish police, Superintendent Leahy, temporarily dissolved the community policing in Clonmel for 6 months to concentrate resources on targeting the sale and supply of drugs because the situation with cocaine-related addictions was so bad, and according to Leahy, he was super tired of seeing how many people died from accidental overdoses or suicide or anything like that. He was just so sick of seeing people die over and over from their drug addiction. So this is the main reason why I wanted to talk about cocaine in Ireland, is because I thought it was just pretty admirable of the superintendent to make that executive decision to pull policing from a community because their drug addiction was so bad. He just wanted to focus on getting those people help and decided to pull policing. Like, I thought it must have taken a lot of thinking and things like that to make the decision that it would be better to not have policing and to focus on the drug problem. And he even encourages anyone that feels pressured from drug dealers or anything to come to the police department and ask for help, because he says that he can successfully handle the situations and all that stuff. So I think that's pretty admirable of the superintendent to do for Ireland and the specific area that's been so affected by cocaine. And cocaine was introduced into Europe through the Cali cartel and Colombian drug trafficking organizations that established routes that go through Europe and Asia, according to Drug Society and Criminal Justice. So that's how it's become a prominent issue. Like, of course, there's going to be local sellers and distributors and third-party sellers who like buy from the bigger organizations and sell, maybe upcharge what they bought and sell that way. So it can be pretty hard to crack down on the distribution of drugs because there's so many people who could be involved in it. And I think Ireland's been doing a pretty good job on focusing on just helping people who are already addicted. It's pretty prominent according to, or from reading the 2019 drug report for Ireland, it's pretty prominent. They're just trying to help people who are already addicted and try to prevent further addictions. Ireland's implemented a drug plan that's called Reducing Harm, Supporting Recovery, a health-led response to drug and alcohol use in Ireland, and it's from 2017 to 2025. So it's got a couple more years on that, but its main purposes are to promote and protect health and well-being, minimize harms caused by misuse of substances, and promote rehab and recovery, support participation of individuals, families, and communities, and develop sound, comprehensive, evidence-informed policies and actions. And I think Ireland's been doing a really good job on following all of these main purposes of this drug plan and just their whole, just how they're so, I think they're doing a good job on just following these guidelines that they implemented in the drug plan and all that. Reading the report, it's pretty obvious that family and friend involvement in a drug abuser's life is really, really important. I also believe that some drug abusers can kind of get a wake-up call from seeing how much they affect their friends and families and things like that, but ultimately it does come down to the individual seeking help themselves. You can't help a person who doesn't want to be helped, but I think Ireland does a good job on emphasizing that to drug abusers, that they're here to help with rehab programs or anything like that. Ireland also does a really good job on their punishments for possession and what they're doing about people who are found with drugs in their possession. For example, Ireland distinguishes between personal use possession and self-supply possession. And if you're found possessing drugs for personal use, you can get up to a year imprisonment on a first offense, which actually has been kind of counteracted by the Criminal Justice Community Service Amendment Act in 2011 that requires consideration of community service instead of imprisonment for all cases where a 12-month sentence is being considered. So I thought this act was a super great decision, because instead of sending an abuser to prison where they're not really getting help, they're just kind of being forced away from drugs, they instead can be sentenced to however many hours of community service, however long in a rehab or recovery center or program, things like that, which I think will ultimately help drug abuse in the long run more than going to prison will. because rehab recovery, they're obviously really focused on getting the person help. And community service, I also think, is a good thing to implement into a drug abuser's life, because if they're out in the community helping and they can see like why their life matters, I guess, or what they can do for others instead of destroying themselves, I think just things like that are really, really important to kind of wake a drug abuser up, give them a wake-up call. And so yeah, I'm really glad Ireland passed that kind of law and act. I think it would help tremendously with the drug abuse that goes on there. And in 2017, there were 1,431 people, according to the 2019 Ireland Country Drug Report, that entered rehab for cocaine use specifically. So already with that pretty large number, you can see that all these plans and community involvement and protection has helped drug abusers realize for themselves they need help and have gone and entered into rehab. So I think that's really good that so many people went to rehab and are trying to get help. Another thing Ireland did that I forgot to mention earlier was their punishment for self-supply possession of drugs. So if you're caught with possessing drugs for the sole intent to sell it or supply it to somebody, you can face up to 10 years to life in prison. The minimum sentence is 10 years, and I think that having the punishment for selling drugs, I think that having the punishment for selling drugs be higher than possession for personal use is a really good decision as well, because it'll kind of intimidate and scare people to not sell it for fear of being caught and stuff like that. And so if there's less suppliers, there's less buyers, and hopefully less abusers. And so I think it's really important that, and really great that Ireland decided to make the self-supply possession punishment bigger and worse than the personal use possession. I think they did a really good job, and it kind of also helps emphasize that Ireland's really just trying to help people who are addicted instead of punishing them. They don't want to punish those addiction. They just want to help. So I think Ireland's doing a pretty good job at cracking down on their drug issue. Let me know what you guys think. And I have the references listed below if you want to look at the report or the article I read to get a better understanding on like why and how I think Ireland's doing a great job so far. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this uploads, because I'm kind of losing my mind a little bit. And I look forward to seeing what other people have said about their countries. Thanks.